We've been hearing the campaigner for the rights of victims of sexual violence, Jill Saward, has died at the age of 51. Jill Saward waived her right to anonymity after she was raped during a burglary at her father's vicarage in Ealing in London in 1986. She was the first woman in the country to exercise that right. She died in hospital in the West Midlands this morning after suffering a stroke. In the last few moments, the Attorney-General, Jeremy Wright, has paid tribute to her, saying that Jill Saward's tireless campaigning opened the eyes of many politicians and helped to ensure that victims are now placed at the heart of the criminal justice system. Our correspondent Phil Mackey looks back at her life.
It is part of my past now, and when I talk about rape, it doesn't hurt me.
The victim of what became known as the Ealing vicarage rape, Jill Saward, was just 21 when she was attacked by burglars who broke into her father's vicarage in Ealing in West London.
The hunt for the vicarage rapists.
The case was the focus of massive media attention, not least because the perpetrators of the rape received shorter sentences than the man who was only convicted of burglary. The judge told the court that her trauma had not been so great. She and her father, who was also injured, publicly forgave their attackers.
They'd destroyed enough. I didn't want them to destroy anything else. So forgiveness gave me that liberation, that freedom to move on.
Neither at the time, and as far as I've been able to examine my sensations since, not once have I felt hatred for these men. I felt sad for them.
In 1990, she waived her right to anonymity and co-wrote a book about her experiences. She became a campaigner for the rights of victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. She regularly appeared in newspapers, on television and radio. Her family have announced her death with deep shock and sadness and said that she'd dedicated the past 30 years of her life to helping others. Phil Mackey, BBC News.
And just in the last few minutes as well, we've had a statement from the Church of England as well, reflecting on the life of Jill Saward, saying that it is with great sadness that we learned of Jill's death this morning. She was a truly brave woman who campaigned tirelessly on behalf of victims of sexual violence. Her courage, fortitude and commitment made her an outstanding campaigner, as well as a loyal friend to many. She was much loved and respected, and will be greatly missed by those whose lives she touched. It is typical of Jill that her final act was to see who might be helped through the donation of her organs. And it goes on to say that she will remain in our prayers and her family will remain in our prayers in the coming weeks. That statement from the Church of England.